out. I can just do that in the editing side. Just take out the mandolin and the voice. The whole thing, really. Alright, let's start the show.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Hop Heroes, the show where we talk about our favorite drinks and our favorite heroes. I'm your host, Jordin, and with me as always, we have talented artist and comic enthusiast, J.R. Gonzalez.
What's up, Jay? How are you?
I'm good, man. You know, I'm as good as I can be after arguably the worst Coug loss I've probably ever seen last night.
Yeah, what the fuck was that, dude?
It
was like video game score, like 70-73.
Our quarterback threw 9 touchdowns and we lost. So I don't know. I don't really want to. It breaks my heart. Gardner Minshew was there in his jorts and all, just rooting on the Palouse and couldn't fucking do it for him.
But here's a quick question about that. So is their season done? Like, college football's so unforgiving. Syracuse suffered a loss a couple weeks ago to Maryland, like a 48-10 loss, and I feel like their season's over because like that. That's just how college football works.
So college football, to me, it depends what you're looking for. Like, there's 4 teams that'll make the final playoff, right? So unless you're really thinking your team's capable of making the final playoff, then no, the season's not over because there's so many goddamn bowl games nowadays.
Oh,
all you have to do is
I don't care about that. That's what I mean.
You have to
I don't
win
give a
9
shit
games.
about bowl games. I was talking about the playoffs and national championship. That's all I care about.
So you thought that Cuse had the potential to make it to the final?
Bro, if we would have won out and beat Clemson, could have done it, dog.
I mean, that'd be impressive. But yeah, Cougs broke my heart last night. So I'm okay. But you know what? I'm very excited to start drinking in the morning again. So here we are. And then we got our third host, Zach Barlow. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, dog? I'm good. I have a couple quick stories for you guys. So last week I went to Vegas for work. One of my coworkers taught me how to bet on sports, and it's a problem.
It's already a problem.
I bet on the Jags last week. I bet on a bunch of shit last week. One was the Jags winning. The other one was Gardner Minshew scoring the first touchdown through a QB sneak. And, dude, I would have won so much money if that would have happened, though. Bro, the odds were like 25-1 or something. But anyway, yeah. I ended up winning a little bit of money back. The Jags won, so that's cool. Yesterday I went mountain biking for the first time, which is something that I have really been wanting to do for a long time. And the mountain bike trails are on a hierarchy. So there's green, which is the easiest, blue, red, black, and then double black is the hardest. So I was like, all right, I'm going to start with some green, bro. It's probably like some walking trails, moms on strollers type of shit, like easy money. Went by myself. Bro, there's got to be different levels to green trails. Because, that shit was not easy, my guy. It's, so
there's,
bad.
Light
there's,
green,
rocks
neon
and
green,
roots, and I'm just
forest green.
Just, trying to go through all this shit. Dude, I rode my brakes all the way down the entire time. Kids are zooming past me. I'm literally getting off my bike and just standing there hey, hello? As I'm, walking my bike up trails
got a
bitch,
flat,
bro.
Don't have a choice. Got to walk it, I guess.
Yeah, got a flat, sorry.
Just
my ankle.
Deflating your tires.
Yeah, so so that was fun. I'm probably gonna become an expert by this time next year, double black trails and shit. But
yeah, I feel like the longer your beard gets, just the more inclined you are to mountain bike. So I feel like you're just in that zone now.
It's not even my free will; it's just my beard deciding for me.
Yeah,
guess what? You're a mountain biker now, so.
Ooh, what's that? 6 inches? Yeah, you're in mountain bike range.
Yeah.
So.
What's crazy about my beard game, too, though, is that there's been multiple times that I've been all right, I think I should shave it down. This is getting wild. But Alicia's always just nah, fam. Run
She's
it.
all
Just
about
let it go. See what happens. I'm just okay. So.
Dude, you're just going to be more and more grizzled as the days go by. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah.
Right on, man. Well, that sounds like a very active week. And then we got our guy in the chair, Vinny McBroom. How you living?
What up? Living well, dude. You know.
That's good, man.
Weekend's always great. Sunday football.
Yeah! What kind of football are we talking? The football that's good football or the football that's your football?
Football, our football, American football.
Yeah, American football. Well, he has a Sounders jersey on, so I'm wondering if
this is soccer. So
I know, that's what I'm saying. Football. It's trying to be current with the goddamn European times. All right, well, here we go. Getting into another episode. Today we're taking, an interesting kind of route with the topic. We chose to do They Call Us Enemy by George Takei, and it's a story of his basically his autobiography of growing up through the Japanese internment camps and how that shaped his life and what he learned from that process. And it's definitely not what we're used to talking about. Drinking beers and talking about superheroes fighting each other is kind of our shtick. And today we're going drunk history. So excited to see how this one goes. And the drink of choice, we've done Japanese first beer already, so we decided let's do Japanese first whiskey. And we went with Suntory Whisky, which I've actually have had before. I had it before Cameron's wedding. We started slamming this, and it's such a good whiskey. I'm drinking the Toki. Zach, are you drinking the Toki as well?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. So I think JR tried to get the right whiskey and ended up getting sake. So classic.
Shows you what I know, and
even
it
with
looks like
guided pictures and literally talking about the brand.
I don't know what you're saying to me right now. I just looks like
pictures.
It looks like squirt soda, so I bought it. That's all I went
Looks
off
like
of.
squirt soda. That's what
Bro,
it tastes
I
like
can't
too,
wait
sure.
to see your surprise. Like, because in your mind, mentally, you're like, oh, this is going to taste like squirt. And, like, you couldn't be... I just can't wait for this, like, experience.
Yeah,
the
just
viewers
keep-
are in for a treat
Keep
here.
thinking that while you go down.
Yeah.
While it goes down.
Sake is
so just-
celebratory, so we're gonna celebrate a great story. So I'm okay with it. With
Yeah,
whatever.
there you go.
Yeah, we are. A brief history on Suntory. So established in 1923, founded by Shinjiro Tori. And just a little... I got to give some love to my boy Shinjiro. I mean, the dude left school at age 13 to get into the liquor industry. Like, dude knew what he wanted to do at age 13, and he wanted to be fucking blending whiskey. Like, what a savage. He is...
Kind of a savage move.
He's got a soft spot in my heart, and thank you, Shinjiro, for changing the world at such a young age. You inspire men like me all around the world just to keep drinking and make terrible decisions. He invested his life savings, despite all of his family telling him not to, into starting this distillery. And
What kind of savings did this dude have at 13?
well, so he was working at 13 in the distillery, kind of picking up the technique and everything. And then when he got
word.
to a financial age where he could invest, he started the distillery. And his whole family's like, don't do it. Like, nobody wants whiskey in Japan. Like, it's not Scotland. He's like, no, man, I can do it. And he started the distillery, and everybody, sure enough, hated it. Nobody wanted to drink whiskey in Japan. So he's like, fuck. But he was persistent and resilient, and he kept trying different things, and eventually found a blend that was more acceptable for the Japanese palate. It was a little more delicate, and started picking up steam. And then he actually innovated the highball technique, which is a type of drink that's very popular in Japan nowadays. And it's basically a shot of whiskey, put some ice in, and then you drop some club soda over the top with a lemon wedge. And it's almost like it's basically a whiskey soda, but it's a lot of soda, and then it's a little lime garnish, so it's very easy to drink. It makes it more sessionable. And then he also innovated a Mizuwari technique, which is basically just whiskey and water. So these two techniques kind of made the whiskey more approachable from the Japanese palate, and it kind of started picking up steam from there. Basically, they've come out with different types of whiskey from Suntory throughout the years. In 84, they came up with the Yamazaki, 89, the Hibiki, 94, the Hikashi, 2015, the Chita, and then the one we have is Toki, which was created by the third generation Torii member, and it is came out in 2016. Basically, Toki means time in Japanese, so this one was supposed to be a blend of the original techniques of Suntory with the renovated new techniques of today. So it's like a modernized original whiskey. And
So it's WoW Classic for them, basically.
Yeah, so it's basically Travas's time. You say WoW Classic? Fucking Christ. That's exactly what it is, actually. But basically, they took all the old techniques of the decided, the signature malt and the specified grains that they got in the Hibachi region, but they also they distill it in American oak, which gives it kind of the modern taste on it. So that's our travel through Suntory history. And
Sick.
Zach's got a glass neat. I got a shot glass, and I'm not excited about doing this.
I just want to quickly say that I've decided to drink my whiskey neat today because I feel like this is like a serious drink, and we're doing like a more serious topic. and so I felt like it was fitting. Plus,
Zach
I
went
just like
with
the way
meat.
whiskey looks neat. Like I feel like it's like so sophisticated. Like we're gonna talk about history today, and we're gonna drink some whiskey neat. You know, like it just fits.
That beard is just changing you by the minute, and I love it. I decided just to pound shots. So every time the story gets a little too heavy for me, I'm gonna shoot one back because this is gonna be a heavy storyline.
Dude,
so.
wait for beneath it. You better stick to that, Jordan. I'm not bullshitting.
Well, it's
Hey,
it's
call
all
him out
subjective.
on it, too.
It's
Stick to it.
Too heavy
For
for
the
me.
video-
So it's all subjective.
For the video, I'll have a counter right next to Jordan's little
Oh,
head every time he takes a shot. Bing, bing.
That'd be funny.
All right.
All
Jordan,
right.
we're holding you to that, but let's go. Let's try
And
it.
then,
Number
Cheers.
one on the
JR,
counter.
you want to say anything about your drink before we all cheers?
Fucking sake.
It's squirt soda, and I'll be ready to drink it.
Can't wait.
So what do you get from the nose, Zach?
I mean, I feel like it smells like whiskey for sure, but I feel like a lot of American whiskey is like kind of like heavy, like smoky. Like you can like you smell like a smokiness to it,
Yeah.
and this doesn't have that. Like this smells more like alcohol-y, if you will. Do you know what I mean though? Like I don't know how else to explain
love
it,
your way
bro.
with words.
I don't know how else to explain it. But like it's not like a charred barrel. It's more just like
As your
like
beard
if I
grows,
close my
you lose
eyes,
vocab.
this is a good way. This is a good way to say it. If I close my eyes and you put this in my nose and you said, "What are you smelling right now?" I'd probably be like vodka.
Okay. Interesting. So it has like the nail polish remover kind of.
Right. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Okay. I get a little smoke from it.
Do you?
I mean, it's still an American oak. It's definitely got a little sweet to it. It's almost kind of like a little hint of honey or something. It smells like it would be sticky if you got your hands on it, you know.
I don't have any comment at all.
And then it's
for
got
that.
a.
At all.
It's very clear. It's not very dark. It's very
It is.
light.
It's
and
not dark.
see-through.
Yeah.
It's almost like a Coors Light. All
All
right.
right. Let's go in.
Salud. That's pretty smooth.
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah, I can drink that. Okay.
I feel like I could sip on that. That's nice.
Yeah, what do you got from the flavor profile? Alcohol?
No, I mean, I feel like, well, yes, that, but I also feel like it's smooth. It's not heavy. Like, it doesn't have that like whiskey bite when you're just like, ooh, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like hard to drink. I mean, it does have a little bit, but for me, it's definitely manageable, and I feel like I could just like sip on it. It's like sessionable almost, which is not normally what whiskey neats would be.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can definitely tell that they went a different route from the blending style where it's not as harsh as like an American whiskey or a Scottish whiskey. It has a lot less smoke, a lot less of that bite,
Yeah.
but you still get a little subtle burn. But
Like,
it's got a
you
little,
know the saying when you take a shot of whiskey and they'll be like, that'll put some hair on your chest. Like,
Yes.
and like, it's like burns like all the way down and then it makes you feel like super warm. You know that feeling? I feel like I don't get that with this. Like, I get a little bit of it, but it seems like it's been dialed back.
Would you say it's almost like drinking like kind of like peppermint, like that kind of hit? It's like a little like a light
Yeah.
burn. I feel
Yeah.
like that's what it reminds me of. Like you're drinking like liquid Altoids or peppermint schnapps. I guess would make sense.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
It's like a smoky schnapps. So very very drinkable. That's like a mountain drink that you can just do while you're, snowboarding. All right. Well, that's our drink for the day. So let's go into our topic. They call us enemy, Jr. Unless you want to talk about your sake, if you tasted it.
Yeah, it tastes
you
like
drink
squirt
it, bro?
soda.
I didn't
I did. Well, I did drink it.
Well, I didn't hear you wince, so I was.
Yeah,
like,
neither did I.
Because men don't wince. I don't care if it's gross or not.
God damn,
Oh,
he's had
damn,
his
bro.
Jurassic Park hat for 2 weeks, and he's already got an ego.
Fuck it, I fight dinosaurs. It's actually very floral. It tastes like it does. It's not that strong. It's actually not that bad.
Oh, it's really not? Damn,
no.
what the hell?
I mean,
It's
it's
very-
sake. It's like rice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I feel
it's-
like sake is like gnarly sometimes. It can be gnarly.
It's not that
that
hard.
just
I
me?
mean, I guess if I took a big gulp of it, it might be. But I could see why they would warm. It probably tastes really good warm. Instead of it's kind of not. It's kind of a little cold right now.
Yeah.
But for the most part, yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's floral. I'm gonna keep it in my fridge just in case we do something else Japanese
Good. Hold on to that one.
forever.
I can't wait to walk into JR's fridge in like 6 months and just see the half drinking
Fucking sock.
the 5 packs of beer left over. All right. Let's dive into the mind of George Takei.
All
What do you got first, JR?
They called us enemies, George Takei. We journey into the life of a 5-year-old boy imprisoned with his family in a concentration camp on American soil. The story is told by the iconic star George Takei and takes place before his travels into the deep space of the USS Enterprise NCC-1701. In these beautifully drawn pages, along with George Takei's personal experience, we are taken into a time of fear and hatred, but ultimately overcome by a family willing to stick together, love each other, and stand by a country that betrayed them. So it's kind of my little synopsis of a great story. That was actually a really great read throughout too. So,
Yeah.
very, very, very personal.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go into all the like the meaning behind it and like what we took away, but ultimately, like growing up, this was something that I never really was taught in history class. Like they never really talked about the Japanese internment, and obviously that wasn't by accident. I mean, it's something that American tried to just brush under the rug.
One of the many things.
Yeah, botched that one. Botched it.
Yeah.
Goofed that one up. All right. Move right past that.
Never happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this was the first time I really read about what happened, what they went through, and
Same.
just the trials and tribulations they had to face. And it's kind of cool seeing it from, 5-year-old George Takei's mind. And he also, like, what he saw as a kid, and then it also reflects on what his dad sees and, like, a more mature mindset going through this and, like, the contrast.
Right.
What big highlights do you think people need to know about this storyline if they were to pick it up? Like, is there any like huge things that would occur that would ring a bell for somebody that?
I think there's like 3. I mean, and one of the biggest stuff that I didn't realize was how much they took away from them. They took away like personal private property, their houses that you bought. That's like if you had your house they bought and they said, hey, we're going to take this, and then they probably sold it to somebody else.
They did.
Like,
they did. I actually
totally
did some research on this, and so what they did is all property owning Japanese American citizens would be sent off to the internment, and they'd have to forfeit the property to the banks, and then the banks would just resell it to people that weren't in internment. So when the Japanese Americans got out, they didn't have any property anymore. Like they straight up just like forfeited it, and then that shit got resold. So yeah, that is accurate.
Yeah.
And they basically like I know like when like the farmers like they would force them to continue to harvest their crops, because if they didn't, then they were considered like saboteurs, and so they would harvest, and then the Americans would just basically take their crops from them at like pennies on the dollar, and they're like, all right, go again. So like they were just like basically it's almost enslavement, forced to like produce crops and then just take them and not give them anything for it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
And
as
one of
Executive
the
Order
bad parts-
9066 was what put this into place.
Right. And one of the bad things that I think I didn't realize either is that they were actually Americans. Like most of the families were actually like their wives were born here, or the children were born here. Yeah, we're like actual
Japanese
Americans.
were actual citizens, so over half.
Not just immigrants, just people who were born and raised
Like, had
here.
their green card, had their citizenship, like full on.
Yeah, the Takei family
citizens.
grew up in Los Angeles. I mean,
Yeah, George Takei's an American.
Yeah.
He was like, and that was kind of the other thing that kind of stunned me is like, it's particularly for me because I'm not, cultural, like from my dad's not from here. My dad came here at 11, and I'm born here. My mom's born here. My sisters are born here, so it's kind of like the same scenario if they wanted to go that route.
Right.
My dad was a U.S. Marine, even served in the military and didn't get his citizenship to the 80s, but it's like the same. They could have done the same thing to my family too if that was So that was kind of like a really like deep cut right off the bat. Like, man, they better fix this, because I had no idea. Just like
you just immediately drew the bridge between like your family and his, because your family has like the same composition as far as immigration goes. Just
Absolutely.
like his father was an immigrant, his mother was a citizen, you're a citizen, he was a citizen, second generation. So there's like plenty of similarities there. Jordan's gonna go ahead and take his first shot because we're starting to get into it.
Yeah. A little deep, JR. That's a deep cut. Thanks for that.
Deep cut.
One of the things that that struck me from the storytelling is his like ongoing ongoing belief in democracy throughout,
Right.
stemming from his father. I mean, even when his dad was obviously had all these things taken away from him and his family was like imprisoned in these internment camps, he always kind of managed to rise up as like the leader of the block, or like kind of, he was like a community organizer, and he still believed in democracy. Like even when he got older, he believed in democracy because like, and there's this part when the character George Takei is having a conversation with his father, and this is after the internment. His father's older, and George Takei is just getting angry at him and saying like, I don't understand how you led us to the prison, you walked us right in, you know, so on and so forth. And then George Takei's father mentions something about, you know, democracy was at work the entire time, and democracy was, you know, the conversations that we had within those blocks, right? Democracy was happening, right? Like as we do these small community organizing things, that's when democracy is happening, and that's when it's like at its strength and its core. It's not necessarily up high up like with all these policymakers and stuff. And I just felt like that was really freaking interesting, especially because if you think about George Takei now, he's very much involved in politics. Like he's very involved in it. He's been in the White House, he's given speeches, so on and so forth. And I think that he has like this deep, deep belief and like passion for democracy. And I feel like it's come from his father, and for his father to have that with having gone through all of like the government failed him 100%. Like that's like not even a question, betrayed him, but still to have that belief in the system, in the ideals of a system, I think was fucking incredible.
Yeah, man, I completely agree. And that's a huge moment in the story when he's sitting down his now teenage son George Takei, and when you're building up to that moment, you're going through the story in the son's eyes as like a toddler, and everything's like kind of weird, but like they get through it. Like mom's still making, you know, outfits for us, dad's still working. We get to play around with the kids. We hear some different slang, like "sock on a beach." That was awesome. Like "sock on a beach," like yelling at the guards because the kids try to prank him into saying "son of a bitch." And so like the kids are going through it, and it's kind of normal. And then like when the kid grows up, he kind of like registers what he was going through, and now he's upset, and he didn't even realize it. And the dad realized it the whole time, obviously.
Right.
But still, you know, believed in the process and believed in democracy, and even mentioned how Roosevelt made this terrible decision, but he had also been paramount in ending the Great Depression. So like even like great men make terrible mistakes, and this is just one of those mistakes. So it was a very like just really hard. I have a really hard time thinking or saying that I would be as mature in Norman Takei's place. Like if I would have been bitter, probably. I would have been upset. I wouldn't know if I'd be able to still support the values of the country that imprisoned me, that I grew up in.
To be honest, I feel like George Takei's father is a great man. Like, I think that, like,
I agree.
If that's what he actually was like, and, like, I'm gonna believe that he was like that, then he's a great man. Because I think that not a lot of people have that ability. I think, like, the path most traveled from that point that he was on is to be pissed. And to be bitter and to be mad. And so for him to, like, take it the way that he did, that's greatness. And I also think that this relationship between like him as a child and his father as an adult, as they move through the same thing, but they're both experiencing it very differently. And the book like beautifully highlights how his father as an adult is going through like all of his pain, like taking all like just basically taking the brunt of it. Himself and the mom are taking the brunt of this, right? Like, but the kids are just kids. So they don't really understand what's going on. And so there's like funny moments in the story. Do you know what I mean? Like there's like moments of the children running around. And as Jordin mentioned, the prank to the guards and so on and so forth. And I think that that's beautifully told because it illustrates how two people in two different walks of life can experience the same thing differently. And I think that like that's like a really powerful way to tell a story, right? Because the kid's not going to experience the same thing the adult's experiencing. And that's like not an easy thing to pull off. And I think that it's a great way to illustrate what that experience was to him and his family.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can kind of see like the dad was aware of this, of what he needed to do to make this as normalized of an experience for his family as he could. Like the one day where they got to act, like he was the leader of the block, right? Every camp they went to, his dad would be a leader. That's just the person that he was. and then he got like convinced the guards to let him take the truck out for one day or whatever, and they got to leave the camp and go to the city and go see a movie or whatever it was. And like those days are what like George still holds on to this day. And like his dad was aware of that. His dad knew that he needed to make these normalized highlights very important so the son could focus, on the positives and find the silver linings in such a terrible situation.
Yeah, that's a good point that you bring up about his father being like a leader in like this horrible time. Like even when like most of them weren't leaders, they were just pissed off, like you guys are saying. But he actually took a point to like help others even when they needed help themselves. In fact, and throughout the story, like when they even leave the camp, he was still doing the same thing. And George Takei's mom was like, "You need to stop and help us for a little while." And that kind of shows you the character of George Takei's dad and understanding that individual, because I mean, be able to take, instead of just
he was a beast, dude.
Yeah, because I mean, most people will be so depressed and so like, deterred from life, they would just almost give up, you know what I mean? And then they jump onto the next radical thing, which is like protesting or just getting into fights or something like that. Instead, he took like the most untraveled route was, I'm going to help everybody in here cope because it's going to help my family, and then continue to do that even outside of the, when they all left the camps. And I think that's a really good point, because I think the story is about that for the most part, is that kind of leadership.
And imagine like being that, like, I don't know if I'd have the strength or the fortitude to like fight that pack mentality. Like when they were at the Tule Lake camp, and it was like the most like radicalized camp, and like everybody's just revolting and got their headbands on and fucking fighting like the people, and like Norman Takei is like, no, we're not doing that. Like we're staying, like we're controlling what we can't control. We're gonna trust the process and know that we'll get out of here. Like everybody around him's thinking like, fuck you guys, like where's your pride for Japan? Like let's go. Like I don't know. Do you guys think you'd be able to, which side of the fence would you land on? Do you think you'd be able to have that calm approach to it? Like I know where I would land, and it wouldn't be in the right spot.
I have like 2 points in my life. As a kid, I made no choices, so I felt like I would have been like the guy in the background, just trying to avoid everything. You know what I mean? Just like, I'm just gonna try and stay in my little corner. Not gonna be an activist. I'm not gonna be a leader. I just want to make through this, But as an adult, I obviously have been prone to try and choose the right direction, even if I fail. And sometimes choosing not to protest or choosing would be my route. You know what I mean? And saying, okay, this is what's important, not just for me, which I'm pointing to my nose here. It's important for everybody else. So that would be my route.
I just want to make a comment on what you just said, because I think that like this notion of choosing the right direction is a bit oversimplifying the stakes here. Because if you think about it, so like they're in an internment camp. Some people are saying pro-Japan, other people are protesting. Right. He chooses to lay back. But the wife actually doesn't. The wife chooses to declare herself for Japan, which almost sends her back to Japan. Do you remember that part?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
that's actually a big part.
And at the time, there is no clear path to what's right. I mean, they both think, the wife thinks that, you know what, maybe Japan's going to win the war. Maybe we should just go back to Japan. Maybe we can start our life over. Because right now they're living in essentially prison, right? And so he's saying, no, democracy's going to work. It's going to fix itself. Like, we're going to be fine. We're going to be able to move back to LA. Let's just wait this out. And at that point in time, I mean, in hindsight, of course, we can look back and say that he was right. But at that time, we don't know that. We actually don't know. Like, right. I mean, it could have gone really, really bad on his part, and the wife could have been correct, right? So I think that, I don't know. I just think that we should try to think about it like that, because like what's right and wrong at the time, if we put ourselves there, we just don't know.
Well, one thing about the decision that she made is, I think one of the biggest reasons she did it was because they didn't want to leave the camp, because everybody was leaving the camp and they had that realization that there was nothing to go back, and she was so worried about that, what are they going to go, where are they going to go live? How are they going to make more money?
Also, racism coming back to society.
Absolutely. Are they going to accept us as, American citizens, or is this just how it's going to be for the rest of our lives? So I think that's a good point. For me, though, as I choose, I think I would have just done nothing. I think, which would have meant
which is essentially what the father did.
Yeah, I think
right. That's the path he chose. He chose to find a corner, wait it out
Yeah.
and hope that it was going to
I
work
just wouldn't have been
itself
as cool as him and think of it as, I would have been like,
But-
I'm just going to stay over here.
Yeah, I disagree that he found a corner. I mean, he was a pillar of like.
I don't want to say he found a corner. You're right.
Yeah, I would have done
He
absolutely
was
nothing.
at the front of the line. He just refused to forfeit his American citizenship,
Yeah.
and that was such a. There are a few things that stuck with me that like where America really fucked up. Okay, Pearl Harbor hits. We make the wrong decision, start imprisoning Japanese Americans. The Executive Order 9066 basically freezes all their assets, takes all their property, puts them into internment camps. Like huge fuck up, right? And then Hiroshima happens, and I think that was right along the same timeline where they offered this forfeit your citizenship, or stay for America. And
No, I think they did that before Hiroshima.
yeah, okay.
They let the citizens decide whether they wanted to stay citizens or forfeit, and that was before Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Gotcha. Okay, and then there was you're right. There's a divide between the husband and wife. Mrs. and Mr. Takei like both thought different ways. But what I thought was really interesting is they stayed together. Like that didn't affect their relationship seemingly. Like they were united still, even though they both had different views on how to handle it, which is very very shows the health of their relationship.
Well, it almost split the family up like in a huge way because she was about to get shipped back to Japan. And then they met some lawyer, and they had to go through like a bunch of like legal stuff to keep her in the United States, and it ended up working out. But for a while, it was like, well, shit, she declared one way, he declared the other way, and they might have to like be forced to split.
Right, they might have been forced to split, but what I meant was just in their relationship, like they were.
Oh,
unified.
yeah.
Like that could rub somebody the wrong way, especially somebody that's stubborn. Like, what do you mean? Like, how do you not see it this way? Like, they were very understanding of each other's viewpoints and kind of trust each other,
Right.
which is really cool.
Yeah.
But then, Hiroshima happens. Japan surrenders the war, and now the people that have forfeited their citizenship are like, "Uh oh, like what are we gonna go back to? What's happening in Japan?"
Right.
And then this lawyer, his name was Walter or something.
Collins?
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 Wayne Collins, I think.
Yeah.
Wayne Collins decided to represent all of these people that were forced essentially to forfeit their citizenship. They were
Because the choice wasn't fair.
No,
it
it's
wasn't fair.
during war while they're imprisoned. They're asked if they want
Yeah.
to forfeit their citizenship. Like what? And the line that he had put there was great. It's like one cannot forfeit their citizenship during war, just as one cannot forfeit being part of the human race. Like it's just illogical and unfair. And that was one that stuck with me. And I'm gonna pour a shout out for that one because goddamn, man.
Yeah, dog.
Thank God for Wayne Collins, man. He fucking.
He did a lot of things, and I think that honestly this story to me so I'm wearing my American flag hat. I don't know if you guys can see that,
Go Mariners.
and like that the American flag Mariners hat, and the reason why is because I think that this story is about American heroes, and I think that Mr. Takei Sr. is one. I think that lawyer is another one. Mm-hmm. And I think that in times of dire straits, the stories of these heroes as they rise to the occasion and make it work out for the rest is really fucking inspiring. And this is gonna bring me to my Beneath the Ink if you guys are ready. But
one thing I do want
not-
to say, just another hero. Do you think that Reagan handled it the right way with his apology in 1988 when he basically said, "We fucked up. We're sorry. Here's $20,000 to every surviving Japanese internee"?
I think that there's not much else that could be done, and I think that that's not good. I'm not all right, we're square now. Good job.
Right.
But
No.
what I will say is that throughout history, there's been a lot of really black kind of parts of time where people have been either enslaved or in internment camps, and that's one of the only times in history for any of it where the government has acknowledged a mistake and then paid any type of money back to the people that they fucked over. So having said that, I think that that's the best that he could do, and I respect that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think that you're never going to make it completely right. There's nothing you can do, but to admit fault is something America doesn't do very often, and that was a pride swallowing moment. So that was another thing I wasn't really aware of. So I was
Right.
really happy to read that.
What did they get? Like 20K? That's all they got? I mean...
Yeah. I mean, there's 120,000 roughly total Japanese Americans that were imprisoned throughout this time.
Right.
And 60,000 got payouts because those are the remaining survivors 40 years later. So, I mean, it's 20 G's, but it's not going to make up for everything. It's just it's not the actual dollar amount. It's the
acknowledgement of
exactly
what they did. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Z, what do you got for us? Let's dive deep.
All right. So as I said, when I'm reading this story, I thought about like the heroes that were involved in this time frame, in this period. And one of the things that really struck me was the mention of the 442nd Infantry. So what happened in this time is that Japanese Americans were imprisoned in internment camps, and essentially at first they were deemed as citizen aliens or something like that, and they were not able to join the war efforts. But America suffered a decent amount of casualties, and so that forced the government to kind of rethink that strategy, and they signed a bill that said that the Japanese Americans could enter the war, and that kind of started this what ended up being this kind of really two extremes, right? A lot of Japanese Americans joined the war from that point, and then a lot of them became like more extreme within the camp, saying that there's no way I'm going to join a war for a company that I'm basically in prison for. Mm-hmm. So the people that did join the war, though, from these camps formed what was called the 442nd Infantry. And I'm just going to read this intro I wrote. So the story of the 442nd, the unit's motto was "Go for broke." They were almost entirely made up of second-generation Japanese American citizens, or Nisei, whose families were in internment camps in the States while they fought abroad. So they fought while their families were being held prison by the country. The 442nd Infantry is the most decorated unit in U.S. military history. The most decorated unit in the history of the United States is this Japanese unit that had all their family in prison when they fought the war.
Wow.
The unit earned more than 18,000 awards in less than 2 years, including 9,486 Purple Hearts, 4,000 Bronze Star medals. The unit was awarded 8 Presidential Unit citations. 21 of its members were awarded the Medal of Honor, which is the highest honor you can get in this country. Mm-hmm. In 2010, the Congressional Gold Medal was awarded to the 442nd Regiment Combat Team and associated units who served during the World War II. And in 2012, all surviving members were made Chevaliers of the French Légion d'honneur for their actions contributing to the liberation of France and their heroic rescue of the Lost Battalion. So this unit went to war for a country that held their families prisoner and just fucking fucked shit up to the point that they became the most decorated unit in the history of America. 21 medals of honor for this war. So I went through all the medals of honor. And
Wait. Before I already poured one up because I knew this was going to get there, but I need a drink to that. Fucking right.
Salud.
That's impressive. And I'm just going to pour another one because I think it's going to be deeper. Ugh.
Yeah.
Go on.
So that's why I said we need to hold you to this, because I knew what my Beneath the Ink was going to be today.
Oh, man.
So I went through the medals of honor, and I picked a couple that I wanted to share with you guys and the audience. This is what I believe to be a representation of the type of men that fought in this infantry battalion. And so I was just fucking blown away. So the first guy is Sadao Munamori, and this is his story. He fought with great gallantry and intrepidity near Saravesa, Italy. When his unit was pinned down by grazing fire from the enemy's strong mountain defense and command of the squad devolved on him with the wounding of its regular leader, he made frontal, one-man attacks through direct fire and knocked out 2 machine guns with grenades. Withdrawing under murderous fire and showers of grenades from other enemy emplacements, he had nearly reached a shell crater occupied by 2 of his men when an unexploded grenade bounced on his helmet and rolled toward his helpless comrades. He arose into the withering fire, dived for the missile, and smothered its blast with his body. By his swift, supremely heroic action, Munamori saved 2 of his men at the cost of his own life and did much to clear the path for his company's victorious advance.
Fucking God damn it.
Keep pouring
boy.
it. Keep pouring it.
So so this dude took leadership because the leader died in a firefight. Advanced on the enemy through enemy fire. Grenade hit him, went towards his soldiers. He dove on the grenade. Saved his soldiers, taking his own life.
Wow.
Medal of Honor recipient. And this whole time, his family is back in the United States being held prisoner against their will. And he's still sacrificing like that for this country.
Wow.
Next one.
Oh, come on, man. How many we got?
2 more.
Fuck.
Mikio Hashimoto. Private Mikio Hashimoto distinguished himself by extraordinary heroism in the action on November 29th, 1943, in the vicinity of Sassuolo, Italy. A force of approximately 40 enemy soldiers, armed with machine guns, machine pistols, rifles, and grenades, attacked the left flank of his platoon. 2 enemy soldiers with machine guns advanced forward, firing their weapons. Private Hashimoto, an automatic rifleman, challenged these 2 machine gunners. After firing 4 magazines at the approaching enemy, his weapon was shot and damaged. Unhesitatingly, he ran 10 yards to the rear, secured another automatic rifle, and continued to fire until his weapon jammed. At this point, Private Hashimoto and his squad leader had killed approximately 20 enemy soldiers. Again, Private Hashimoto ran through a barrage of enemy machine gun fire to pick up an M1 rifle. Continuing their fire, Private Hashimoto and his squad leader killed 10 more enemy soldiers. With only 3 enemy soldiers left, he and his squad leader charged courageously forward, killing 1, wounding 1, and capturing another. The following day, Private Hashimoto continued to repel enemy attacks until he was killed by enemy fire. Private Hashimoto's extraordinary heroism and devotion to duty are in keeping with the highest traditions of military service and reflect great credit on him, his unit, and the United States Army. So this dude took out like 35 to 40 dudes in a day, in one battle, by himself,
And if he can
and
do
then
that,
died the next day.
I can take 10 shots in an hour. Damn it. Cheers.
To Mikio Hashimoto. One more.
To Hashimoto.
One more. Daniel Inoue. Second Lieutenant Daniel K. Inoue distinguished himself by extraordinary heroism in action on April 21st, 1945, in the vicinity of San Lorenzo, Italy. While attacking a defended ridge, guarding an important road junction, Second Lieutenant Inoue skillfully directed his platoon through a hail of automatic weapon and small arms fire in a swift enveloping movement that resulted in the capture of an artillery and mortar post and brought his men to within 40 yards of the hostile force. And placed in bunkers and rock formations, the enemy halted the advance with crossfire from 3 machine guns. With complete disregard for his personal safety, Second Lieutenant Inoue crawled up the treacherous slope to within 5 yards of the nearest machine gun and hurled 2 grenades, destroying the emplacement. Before the enemy could retaliate, he stood up and neutralized a second machine gun nest. Although wounded by a sniper's bullet, he continued to engage other hostile positions at close range until an exploding grenade shattered his right arm. Despite the intense pain, he refused evacuation and continued to direct his platoon until enemy resistance was broken and his men were again deployed in defensive position. In the attack, 25 enemy soldiers were killed and 8 others captured. By his gallant, aggressive tactics and by his indomitable leadership, Second Lieutenant Inoue enabled his platoon to advance through formidable resistance and was instrumental in the capture of the ridge.
Jesus Christ. That's like the
He
guy
got
that
shot by a sniper. A fucking grenade blew off his arm, and he continued to lead his fucking platoon on these sniper nests and took the sniper nest and captured the enemy. And the whole time, his family is in fucking prison camps in the United States of America. This is the most. These are just 3 examples
by the country that he's fighting for. That he's
by the country that he's fighting for. These are just 3 examples of heroes from the 442nd Infantry who volunteered to fight for the country that imprisoned everything they knew and everything that they loved.
What was that guy's
name? And now they're the most decorated battalion in the history of America. That's why I'm wearing this cap today, because I feel like we're talking about American heroes today.
We are.
Like, this is not... And it's crazy because I feel like a lot of the times when you think about, like, military and, like, heroics and stuff, you don't think about immigrants. But immigrants have fucking defended this country from day one, bro.
Yep.
Like, that's the truth.
Yep.
The most decorated battalion is Japanese immigrants. And I feel like all I can do is just say thank you for the freedom, thank you for the sacrifice, and salute to the 442nd and everybody that went through these this process. Nothing but appreciation, and it really gives me pride in my country to know that you guys existed.
God damn it.
6 shots.
That's it for me.
Holy smokes. What was that guy's name? The last one?
Daniel Inouye.
Ooh. Daniel Inouye. That, oh my God. Okay. I'm getting drunk. That's the guy you want to follow into battle when you're playing Call of Duty, bro. That's the fucking guy. Like, that guy takes a snipe shot, fucking nade to the arm, still takes down the sniper nest. Like, dude, savage as can fucking be. And
Daniel Inouye ended up being in Congress.
That's true. Yep.
Dope, dude.
Ended up being an American congressman.
As he should be. Well, that's
Yeah,
fucking
dude.
incredible, man. The story just it shows you what we're capable of, like, and it shows you what we're capable of, especially in such a dark time. Like how resilient mankind really is, and it's not any race, any country. It's just mankind in general will never fucking give up, and that's why we're up against so much right now. But like, I'm confident just because of what we have at the fucking helm. And the one, I think the underlying theme of this story is never forget. And it's something that America kind of does a lot, is, we focus on the pleasantries of American history and really don't focus on the unpleasantries. Like, we never talk about Japanese internment camps. We never talk about Columbus and what actually happened when he came over here. Like, there's so many things that just get brushed aside to glorify the American dream and what America did. And as kids, we're like, oh my God, America's amazing. And then we grow up and we're like, fuck, we suck. We're terrible at a lot of things. We're bad people.
One of the great things about this is George Takei is, and I think we just can't forget is how much awareness that he's bringing to the table with his plays and his books and his media content. I was watching a lot of interviews with him, and he's smiling the whole time he's telling this story. I mean, because he just doesn't want it to happen again, right? The reason that he does this is so we don't repeat ourselves, constantly.
Which we are doing right now.
Which we do at times, and it's unfortunate.
As we speak.
But I think the more he does this and the more kind of stuff like this comes out, the more we realize we just need to be, make better decisions and be aware of other people. And I think that's kind of awesome that he still does this. I mean, he didn't have to do this. He had he makes a ton of money off of Star Trek, and just by royalties and being, Lieutenant Sulu for so long and being an icon. And I've met him before. I mean, the guy is so nice. Him and his husband Brad are like the nicest, people you can meet. They both shake your hand. They both ask how you're doing. They both like, hey, thanks for coming to see me, and all that kind of stuff.
So fucking cool.
And
that is dope.
They both smell really nice, but they're
wait, what was that last part?
What was that last part?
Hold on. Slip that in there real quick. Hold on. Wait,
but
what?
yeah, it was a great experience for me to meet George Takei, and I was so intrigued by this book. I mean, the book, I flew by it so fast. It's probably it's not a lot hard reading, but it was like intriguing, right? Like you read this thing and you just can't put it down. I took it with me everywhere, and I was glad. I know we kind of we're like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to be respectful to this book? And I think just being able to read it, I had no idea it came out. It came out in July of this year. Not a clue. Even after he's on TV a lot and promoting the crap out of this, I had no idea about any of this stuff until we decided to do this book. So kudos to Jordin, which he doesn't get a lot of, but kudos to him on this one.
I take him where I can get him, No, I think it's really cool that we decided to do this because it's not a MCU story. It's not a DC story. It's literally just an educational story of what happened in our history, and it needs to be explained.
You buy it in the history section at Barnes and Nobles. It's not in a normal, I had to ask him, where is this book? And he walks straight over to the history right next to the autobiography of Abraham Lincoln, George Washington or George Washington, and he's literally like right there is this graphic novel, this comic book looking thing, and you're like, what the heck? But it's in the history, and that's where it exactly should be, right in the front.
Yeah, and it's so approachable for like any age to
Exactly.
really understand.
Yeah,
it's almost like we'll get into it in our opinions, I think, on ratings, but like it makes such an important story approachable for the minds that need to know it, and I'm just so glad that we were able to take a kind of call on Audible, go a different route, but bring it into the mainstream of what
It's a great
the story
risk.
had to say. Absolutely. All right, so let's go in before we go into our final ranking. Let's go to our off and on, but my favorite segment, Hop Headlines, with our guy in the chair, Vinny McBroom. What do you got for us, Vinny?
What's up, y'all? It's Vinny the Sidekick here doing Hop Headlines. Today I'm going to start with Hop Headlines. So I'm going to do kind of more of the national news. Of course, we mentioned this last time on Hop Heroes. Joker movie's coming out soon. I know we're all going to see it. We're going to have a reaction episode for it. We might even do a little Joker tease before episode. But
some cosplay.
that may happen. I'll
What?
be down to do some cosplay.
I'm just going to be naked with a painted face.
Hey, as long as we don't
No,
show
never mind.
video of it,
Cosplay's
it's
canceled.
okay. You could be however you want.
Well, if we're not showing a video, I'm not doing it.
But October 4th is when that comes out. Directed by Todd Phillips, and this is kind of funny about Todd Phillips is the movies he's done in the past are probably you wouldn't have guessed. He's actually most well known for the Hangover series, Old School, Starsky and Hutch. He wrote Borat and got nominated for Academy Award for
This
Borat.
is the guy that wrote the Joker.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
And he also
What?
produced A Star Is Born, which just came out with.
That's a fucking great movie, bro.
So this
let's
guy's
not
got
let Zach
good
talk about
taste,
that.
But this is a little bit different than what he's used to, I guess. He wrote and directed this, and he claims that he actually wrote this movie for the role of Joaquin Phoenix.
As he should.
Yes.
Joaquin is
So it should be great, like
transformative.
everybody's saying. But that's coming out soon.
It's getting
Is
amazing.
Will
reviews.
Ferrell the villain or the good guy? I guess you could say. Is Will Ferrell?
Will Ferrell's in
movie?
this?
No, I'm just saying all those movies the guy's done.
Oh.
I hope Will Ferrell's in
Come
it
on.
somewhere, dude.
I was about to freak out.
Dude, you made my heart stop for a moment too.
What if
Like, wait,
Will
what?
Ferrell was Batman and he had like one scene in the movie?
Anyways,
I'd be pissed.
on that
Amazing.
note, yesterday for us, this will be a couple days for you all that are listening right now. On the 21st was Batman Day. I don't know if you guys
nobody
did
cares
you guys
about.
do anything for Batman Day?
I wore my
I
Batman.
watched
Bro, I do
Spider-Man
something for
movies.
Batman Day every day of my life.
Flex for a Z. Flex for a Z. Where that?
There it is.
There, B.
Batman Day for life.
Let's go.
But it's kind of cool little recreational holiday, I guess you would say. It's the third Saturday of every September. This year's marks it special because it's the 80th year Batman's been around since he's been created. So
Hell
Question.
he was
I have a
created or at this day on 19, what was it? It'd be 39.
How many superheroes have their own holiday?
The only one that needs one, I guess.
Batman? Does fucking Superman have a holiday? Is there a
Probably
Superman
not,
Day?
dude. Nobody likes Superman.
No, but like, what about like why the fuck does Batman have a holiday?
Because he's the best one, Jordan. It's like, seriously, like, it's funny because we argue all the time about like Gambit and Cyclops, LOL, fun jokes. I don't even bring Batman to the table because it's not even fair anymore.
He's not
He's
even
just so
fucking
much better
superhero. He's a hero.
Than everybody.
That is
There's
true.
super about him.
That's like getting in an argument about who would win and then always being like, well, Goku's Super Saiyan God. It's like, dude, fuck you. Get out of here.
Oh, God. I have a
sick of
theory, though.
Batman.
I do think that Batman and a lot of the DC characters are sometimes often alone. And, like, Batman is one of those characters where, like, you say, okay, here's DC, and then right next to it is Batman. And sometimes you could separate the two. A lot of Marvel characters are, like, tied into Marvel as a whole.
That's true.
And so when you think of
That's a good point.
Spider-Man, even though Spider-Man's just as big as Batman, he's tied into the Marvel.
Just as big as Batman. Just
I
as
think,
big.
Yeah,
I'll take a shot for
that. And so I think the problem is Marvel so much more successful a little bit than DC, and so sometimes these characters get, driven out further than the actual company. So like Batman is a big iconic character.
But so I think there's pros and cons to that too. This is kind of a side tangent, bro, and this will be quick. But like, I think that because of that, it hurts
Spidey.
DC as a whole because so Batman's super successful, right?
Right.
But like overall, a lot of people are like DC's trash, and they almost view Batman as like a separate entity.
Exactly.
But like Marvel, people will be like, Marvel's dope because you got like fucking Deadpool and Spider-Man and
Iron Man,
blah 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 Iron Man, like, and it all like works together. So like other popular DC characters would be like, I don't know, Joker, fucking Aquaman is like decent, gaining popularity now, but still like those characters don't feed back into DC very well, which
Right.
gives DC like this negative kind of view in the industry.
Yeah.
Also, DC sucks. So
DC doesn't.
DC
DC doesn't suck.
DC doesn't suck,
DC
dog.
doesn't suck.
DC doesn't
DC
suck at
didn't
all.
have
DC's
Batman, they'd be fucking drowning. It's like, please,
Bro,
help! We have Cyborg.
So wait. So let me ask you this.
Cyborg, bro?
Let me ask you this.
Like-
If DC didn't have Batman, are you also taking away all the villains? Like you're taking away that entire thread of story?
We're getting off topic.
Jordan? All right.
I mean, how?
Because if you do, then
Like,
DC's
come on,
trash.
this sucks.
So basically, DC is like MJ, Bulls, like 80, 90, 91.
Yeah, take
When they
Batman
just, like,
away, take the
pass
villains
the rock
away.
to MJ, and he'll take us to the ship.
Yeah.
And Marvel's like the Warriors when they have like this motion offense and everybody's good and everybody gets the ball
Everybody
and
gets
shit.
an assist. Everybody's open. It's a team sport.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. DC's
Yeah.
just playing hero ball
Stan
all
Lee's
day long.
over here, Steve Kerr.
They got
and
one
then
good
fucking
player.
DC's over
to
here.
fucking
It's like,
ride that to the ship, bro, forever and ever.
LeBron, save us, LeBron.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Batman's LeBron. That's
Hey, I got an idea. Let's
Batman is
revamp the
LeBron.
Joker
Okay,
series.
yeah.
Batman's
All
for
let's
sure
run it, let's run
LeBron.
it.
And the
That's
DC
why
is the
Batman has
fucking
his own
Cavs.
holidays, because Batman is LeBron.
Exactly.
That makes sense. All right. Glad we agree.
So to wrap it up on the comic side of the news, this is funny. Last week we had Blue Moon episode. Guess what? Blue Moon's about to release and come out later this November for us to try and buy.
Hop Heroes draft.
Iced coffee blonde beer.
Ew,
Oh God.
So
you
this
serious?
is Blue Moon's typical wheat style like blonde beer, but it's also brewed with coffee beans to give it that nice espresso taste.
That sounds terrible.
It does sound terrible, right?
Is there caffeine in it though?
A blonde in iced coffee?
Have you
Is
guys
there
ever had a
caffeine in
coffee
it?
stout though, or a porter?
Yeah.
I mean, so like,
Yeah, those are
I
delicious.
would assume it tastes like that, but just a little bit less.
I think I'm being turned off by the blonde.
Yeah,
But is there caffeine in it?
I don't know that, but I would assume so since it's brewed with coffee beans, like real espresso.
So this
beans.
is like a Four Loko. This is Blue Moon's version of Four Loko. Just like get you fucked up and energize you at the same time.
I guess so, but who knows?
The shit's
I'm into
and
it.
the- and
Who
pee at
knows?
the
Maybe
same
this
time.
maybe this will
I'm
be
into
the
it.
gateway to all the other iced coffee.
Well, PBR. You said PBR was doing this too, right?
But it wasn't available for us because they're doing East Coast a lot. I think this will be in stores for us in November, but I could be wrong.
Dude, iced beer, iced coffee beer.
Yeah,
sounds-
it's literally called Blue Moon Iced Coffee Blonde Beer.
That episode's gonna suck. Does
Once
not
they
sound good
make once they make the iced coffee pumpkin latte beer, this show gets basic as fuck. And we're teetering right
All
now.
right,
on that.
today we're
Once it
talking
happens.
about my favorite.
Bro, I'm already so fucking basic. Have you guys tried the iced coffee pumpkin cream shit they got going on right now at Starbucks?
All right, let's move on.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. So
I did
switch
get
on
the
to some
strawberry
local
refresher.
news. So if you're living around the Puget Sound area like we are, so Silver City Brewery, one of our favorite breweries out here. Shout out to
Silver
them.
City.
Zach's already
As
got.
Zach
So
drinks the
that's
Tropic
the
Haze.
Tropic Haze, right, Zach? So
Yep.
they have a new
Probably my favorite beer right
They have
now.
a new Tropic Haze that you might want to try out. It's called Wet Hop Tropic Haze. Do you? I'm pretty sure we tried it the last time the four of us were over there. A few months back. And remember, she was trying to explain to us how wet hops work. They use wet hops
Yeah.
instead
Shout
of
out
dry
to Jess.
hops.
I don't remember this.
Shout out to Jess, the brewmaster.
She vaguely
remember.
explained
Oh,
it.
is
I
that there?
remember, but none of us caught on really. but
we were probably drinking. It's weird.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But so that came out earlier this month. It's limited. All these things I'm about to list from Silver City are typically limited. So if you wanted to go get them, you'd have to go to their tap room.
And don't give them
down
to
in
Zach because he'll put them
Bremerton.
in his freezer and they'll explode.
That was like 2 years ago. I'm never gonna live that down. All
People
right.
don't forget.
Anyways, other than the wet hop
Move
Tropic
on.
Haze, which I think we'll all love because we like the original hop Tropic Haze, they got Uberfest that came out early this month, and obviously you could just tell by the name of that. That's for Oktoberfest coming up. so it's gonna be one of those little heavier ales. And then they brought back Superfly IPA. Have you guys ever tried the Superfly?
Oh, I like the Superfly. I love the Superfly, dude.
Superfly is good. So they just brought that back last week. So it's another limited one. If you want to go get some of that, go down to Bremerton. And then they got
Silver City's the best, dude.
They got 2 new beers that they just came out with earlier this month. And one is called Trophy Life IPA, and it just seems like another one of their IPAs they put out because that's kind of their specialty. And here's a special one that's actually hasn't come out yet. By the time this episode airs, it should be out. So it comes out on the 26th. It's called
Exclusive.
What's up?
I said exclusive.
Exclusive.
Hop Heroes exclusive.
Hop Heroes exclusive right
Hop
here,
Heroes
baby.
exclusive.
So on the 26th.
I gotta tilt my camera down a little bit so I can get the nips.
Jordan's drunk. Just move right past that
Jordan's
video.
7 shots deep and rubbing his nips. All right. So on the 26th, you can head down to the tap room and get what's called the Irresistible Bliss Strawberry Milkshake IPA.
Interesting.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I'm into it.
I
Yeah,
want
me
to
too.
try
I
don't know.
it. It sounds
I'm into
like
it.
something that'd be
Milkshake
really good
IPA? I
to
don't-
experiment with. and
Bro,
try.
we should make a trip to Silver City, bro. They got a lot of shit going on.
Yeah, dude, they got a lot. You know how flavorful they get with their stuff. Another big news with them is they got a new canning machine, so they're trying to pump these out as fast as they can, and hopefully they'll hit stores because typically you just see
need
their
to.
their main beers at the stores, so just keep buying them, I guess, and
One of the biggest challenges Silver City has had, and it's a good problem to have, is that they run out of beer to sell to stores because people come to the
tap room.
And just drink their kegs.
Yeah, the tap room's a lot
And
of
they're-
fun.
They can't
always
brew
got different
shit
stuff
fast
there.
enough.
Yeah.
And the tap room's really a lot of fun. Ask for Jess. Tell him Hop Hero sent you.
She'll hook you up.
She'll hook you up, dude. She's tight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
she's the
pretty
best.
much. Oh wait, what's this? Another report. This. Oh my.
Breaking news!
Another
Ding,
report.
ding, 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 ding.
So last time I had a incoming news report, I claimed Cyclops is a bitch. So I
Let's hear it.
can now declare
Tip the cat.
he is no longer a bitch.
Hey!
Cyclops
Wait.
is no longer a bitch. This is-
Atomic.
Hear me out. Hear me out. So the new Hickman X-Men series is out right now, and it's almost done. I think they're after this Wednesday that's coming up. So by the time you hear this episode, there's only 2 more issues left of this series, and it's fucking awesome. That's all I'll leave it as. And it went from Cyclops in the first issue, kind of pulling a bitch move, so I claimed him as a bitch. After reading, these 10, almost 10 issues, I'll take that back. I'll take it back.
Ooh, does he do some dope shit? Am I gonna have to read it?
Dude,
God, yeah, read
you know
it.
what? I got an idea. JR, do you still have your digital codes for those issues?
Maybe.
If you didn't use them, I'm assuming you still do. I still have the digital codes for all the issues I have. We can make this a contest. So either I say we could give a series out to a listener, and we could give a series out to either Jordin or Zach. Maybe I'll create a poll for Team Cyclops or Team Gambit, and whoever wins, obviously Zach or Jordin will get the free series on digital, and then maybe we could do some sort of raffle for our fans.
Bro, we all know who is. Okay, first off,
Let's go, baby.
I feel like I'm
down.
at a disadvantage
Here's the thing.
here,
Let me
'cause-
just say this: if
okay,
I
no,
win,
I'm going to talk over Zach because I am drunk, and I feel that there's no Gambit reference in the storyline, so the fact that Cyclops
all.
has a reference, he's going to have an advantage. I feel like that's not fair.
but it's a poll, Jordan. It's the people. They haven't read this yet.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
But there's no
If
reference
I
to Gambit in
win-
the story.
If I win, if Cyclops wins, I will read this series, bro, and then I will make a new poll, and then whoever wins that poll, I will give Jordan signed Matthew Perry
Fuck off.
to the listeners.
It's going nowhere. It's right
No,
there,
let-
and it's
let's-
not going anywhere.
What we'll
Nate
do
has
is
been hounding me for that because of your fucking polls. And
We're
that is
gonna-
my
oh my
baby.
God.
It's not leaving.
We're
the
gonna
nest.
do.
It's safe.
Let's
I
do a
need
Team
that.
Cyclops, Team Gambit, and we'll do some T-shirts, and we'll give away some T-shirts for this poll, and I'll do the painting on for the shirts, and so We'll do that.
I got an idea.
All right, okay, time out.
We can use the painting that you did as a design.
Time out.
By the way,
that's
we're
the goal.
doing
I'll do another
shirts
one.
here.
I'll do one for Gambit, and it'll be a design.
No, you don't need to do that.
Get that fucking out of the screen.
Look
It's disgusting.
at how savage that is.
It's so stupid.
Oh,
It's
So
it's
I'll do a
the
Gambit,
stupidest
and we'll do
thing.
a
That in my
team
office.
Cyclops, a team Gambit, and we'll do T-shirts, and whoever participates and whoever communicates.
We'll come
to
up
us
with the
will get-
rules when they're finished.
Yeah, and who gets T-shirts and who doesn't, and we'll give those away.
But
Everybody out there
for
that
this
knows.
poll that I'll do after this episode releases is strictly for Jordin and Zach, and that whoever agrees and is on your side of the team, you guys, whoever wins that vote, I'll give you guys the codes for that. But for the other ones, we should wait a couple more weeks because the series will be over early October, and then we could give out the entire series.
I just feel like I'm at a disadvantage. There's no Gambit storyline right now.
Bro, you're at a disadvantage because your beard is like tapered to 1 or 0. Dog. Your shit's
Sorry, I'm not
trash,
mountain
bro.
biking on the weekends like a fucking
Yeah,
mountain man.
me too, bro.
God
Me
damn
too.
it.
I wish you did.
Be a real man and shave and get a mustache. But
When I say mountain biking, I mean carrying it up a hill while people walk by and then like resting when they're not there. It's like,
I did some mountain biking, bro.
Jesus
Oh
Christ.
God.
I'm gonna walk up and then walk down with a mountain bike in my fucking hand just to make sure. People
That
know.
sums
Is that
up
Hop Headlines? I'm sorry.
Hop headlines.
Okay.
Thanks, bro.
All right.
That was fun.
That was fun. All right. Let's go into our craft or trash rating for They Call Us Enemies. So, JR, start it off. What's your rating here?
9.5. I'm gonna give it a 9.5.
Fuck me. Are you serious? All right.
Absolutely.
That's super high.
Yeah, it's very high.
Absolutely. There's.
You went first, so you rated the highest. So if we don't rate it as high, then we're
Yeah, you guys are
fucking racist. Is
assholes.
that what you're saying?
If you don't rate it as
Yeah.
high as me.
It's actually
I'm-
smart. Smart.
So the reason I say 9.5, there's 3 things I go, not just because of because of what the book meant, because that's above and beyond a rating. But there's 3 things I look in when we do this stuff. Am I being entertained? How fast can I read this story, right? And then the actual story. And so those are the 3 things that I always look for in a story, and all 3 of those things hit the check mark this time. I mean, I couldn't put the book down. I mean, that's a good sign for me right then and there. I mean, it was entertaining, it was informative, and I was like, I got lost in it, and that's what I want out of an entertainment situation, via TV or via book or whatever, via in person. And so I'm going 9.5. And then also, I love Star Trek. I have for years. I mean, loving George Takei from the beginning, and the
Zach
team.
can't do it. Zach said West Side.
That's not it. Zach.
Yeah, you're
That's
off
not
a little
how
bit,
you
buddy.
That's what you guys have been doing this whole day.
Nah, bro.
No, that's
not-
I am crossing
West
the
Side.
fingers. You don't cross the fingers.
I hate
Same
this.
shit.
I
That's
hate
what you
this.
guys-
Just
why you guys keep
don't
fucking
give him
doing this with
credit.
your
Just
hands?
move.
That's
keep
what's
going.
like live long and prosper is what this means.
Right.
Yeah, that's wrong.
I hate you so much.
But yeah, that's why I rated it at 9.5. So take it or leave it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, JR. All right. I'll go because the longer the time goes, the worse my answer is going to be. I'm giving it a 7. And the reason I give it a 7 is, honestly, I thought that it was...
7 for the amount of shots you've taken today.
Is that where I'm at right
Wow,
now?
that's exactly where you're at. Yeah.
You should take one more right now and then give it an 8.
There you go. Give it what it's supposed to do. There, he had it ready. That's
So I'm going to go with an 8. And here's my reasoning. I think that the story was great and necessary for the public. And I gotta fuck it.
Take a breather, Jordan.
Oh my
I think that the story was
go?
incredible, and it was something that needs to be told. And in the format it was told in, with almost like the artwork made me think of Curious George. Like, it was so approachable. It was black and white, which kind of bummed me out. Which is probably the message that should bum you out. But it was very approachable from a young age. Like, no like age group is distinctive. Like, you can read this at any. I mean, obviously if you're 3 and you can't read, but if you're at certain levels, it's gonna be Jesus Christ. It's gonna be very approachable, and I think that the story needs to be told, and I'm glad that they told it to an acceptable audience. And fuck off, all of you. And I think that it was just like I don't even know if I can go through this.
You can't do it.
It's let me focus here. All right, so great story. George Takei suffered a lot, you assholes, and you're just laughing over here. And he went through a tough ass time, and the fact that he put such a positive spin on such a negative 8. Fuck you guys. 8. All right, go Zach. 8. Hard 8. God damn it. Shout out to Toki because it will get you to where you need to be.
Oh, dude, I'm crying. I'm weeping, dude. I have not laughed that hard
Moving
in a
on.
long time.
Moving on.
Holy shit.
We're not laughing at the story.
No, not at all.
I get it.
We're just laughing at Jordin.
you, bro. At you.
I'm doing great over here. So
All right. Whew. All right. Wow. Okay. I am going to give this a 6.5.
there you go.
To be honest, I think the story is important. I think that obviously, I mean, I have nothing ill to say about this story and about Takei and everything like that. As a comic though, like as a pure graphic novel from a writing standpoint, I think he did a lot of interesting things. I think the most interesting thing was him having a perspective versus his dad's perspective, moving through the same type of thing. But I thought it was cheesy at times and unrealistic. Like there was like this one line where like the son looks up at the mom and says, "I like to see you smile," or "I like to see you happy," like stuff like that. I'm just like, like, I don't know. I mean, it just feels
In times
childish,
of
like
severe
very kiddie.
darkness, maybe that would be like a highlight for somebody.
sure, but I just doubt it happened. That's all I'm saying. Like
So you're calling
and maybe
George
it
Takei
did.
a liar, is what you're saying.
Maybe I'm cynical. I don't know. I just
bit.
felt like also I wish that the book was in color, and I felt like the art style was like
Curious George.
super cartoony. Yeah, it's cartoony like that. And so, I think that the story is important, and I think that obviously that everything we talked about is real. If it was up to me, I would love to have a graphic novel about the 442nd Infantry.
That should be a
and then
movie.
just go through
dude.
each Medal of Honor, all 21, like single stories, and have them intertwine with each other because they were all in the same infantry, and then watch them do all the shit they did in World War II. Bro, I'd fucking eat that shit up.
All right,
Like,
so you
I
want
would
me
eat
to
that
write a
shit up.
screenplay?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll
But-
have our next project.
Yeah, we have some research to do, but that shit would be fire, bro.
Yeah.
Flame. So, I don't know. I guess it was a good book. It wasn't amazing to me. The story was amazing. The book itself, I felt, was 6.5. It was all right.
And that's fair, and that's why I was going with 7. I think that the story needs to be told, and I like that the format it's in is deliverable to all ages. So it's a story that's accessible. And like JR said, it's in the history section. So like people need to hear this, and if they can hear it, like if it was a novel, nobody below the age of 30 would pick it up. But the fact that it's a comic, we're all talking about it, right? So I think that that's important, and I'm glad it happened. But I appreciate and I respect your rating. And so that brings us around to a cold 8, which is what I ranked it anyways, because I've taken 8 shots, motherfucker. So George Takei, thank you so much for... I feel like an asshole. For everything that you've done for this country and everything that you and your family have established. And I feel like I disrespect you every shot I take. So I love you and thank you.
No, that's not true. I think that, I don't know. I think the main takeaway is that if you haven't read this story, you should. Although I gave it some criticism, it's just a story that you need to know. I think that just from an American history standpoint, there's a lot of heroes that never get talked about, and I think that this is one way to give them the recognition that they deserve. So
Absolutely.
we joke around, we have fun on the show, but this is a pretty serious thing. And so read it, educate yourself, be aware, and appreciate George Takei for bringing recognition to this topic because it's a big part of our history. So
Yeah, that's a good.
it was a dope read.
It was a good point.
Absolutely.
I think people just need to realize that George Takei is known for this fantasized world of Star Trek, and for him to bring us into his personal experience, like reality world, down to Earth instead of deep space, I think is pretty awesome. And I could see why you say cheesiness, but that's kind of George Takei, man. I mean, if you ever watch Star Trek, I mean, he chases people down with a sword in the hallways of the Enterprise, and jumps up and down. And
I've never watched Star Trek 2,
Oh,
so I have
dude.
zero affinity to that character that he has.
Yeah.
So this might as well have been like a random author for me. So
Yeah.
I should say that as well to go along with my rating.
a lot of him is in this book, like even in person, and he's exactly the same. Obviously as Sulu, he's a little bit more aggressive, but he's just like, hey, it's okay to say Takei, and I think that is pretty hilarious. And
it's not Takei, motherfucker, Vinny.
Guys, Vinny
Got
corrected. Our
Yeah, that
facts
was
guy
my bad.
On the
I'm sorry.
last episode for Takei. Like, what
our
the
facts
fuck
guy
is this?
gave him
It's
the
not a
wrong
samurai
facts.
sword. It's Takei.
Bro, you got
It's
one
okay.
job. You got
To
one
be
job.
Takei.
3 jobs. All right.
I apologize for mispronouncing Mr. Takei's name. And now I'm here to say that I said it correctly.
Hey
And I
man,
take pride in that.
I only got like a 3rd grade B
Hey,
level.
man.
Sorry.
Why are you producing this show? Moving on.
All right, shout outs. Let's do it.
Let's go into plugs. Who do we got? Who wants to plug some shit?
I want to plug something, honestly, just because I think it's really cool. It's happening here in Tacoma. It's called the Jet City Comic Show. So this will be at the Tacoma Convention and Trade Center. This is right in the middle of downtown. It's pretty close to the UW district of downtown, close to the Glass Museum, the big Marriott Hotel. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Right in the middle of the plaza. This is also their 10-year anniversary. So it's probably going to be a pretty big event for them. This is more of like a smaller independent crew, but they got a lot of cool artists. They got some actors from Power Rangers. They got Buck Rogers himself from the old sci-fi TV show. But I think
Dude,
it'd
if
be
you're
pretty
gonna
cool.
say Billy from fucking Stranger Things is about to be there, then I'm gonna catch a flight. And be there.
What's this say over here? In the fine small print, it says Billy from Stranger Things is gonna be there. So let Jordin know to get a ticket. But
Bro, you should just be catching a flight anyway.
Yeah.
But no, it's gonna be a cool event. I'm gonna be there with another friend. I might do some video recording and throw another random segment for the
Hello?
show.
I didn't get an invite. That's weird. Did I miss the call?
Zach, we were pretty busy, so just move on.
Oh. That's crazy.
Anyways, that's all I want to plug. Jet City Comic Show, 10 years. This is what it's gonna be October 26th and 27th. That's like the last weekend of October, I'm pretty sure. So
Or Halloween.
mark your calendar.
Hey. All right, JR, you got anything you want to plug?
Not really. Just George Takei. What's up, George?
George Takei.
Oh my.
Your boy, your homie.
I
Z.
feel like JR has like a low-key crush on George Takei.
Dude, I have a
You
low-key
met
crush on
him.
all the Star Trek people, all right? Not just George Takei, but he was one of the nicest. Him and Patrick Stewart, like super sweet people. Unlike William Shatner, who looked like he was drunk the whole night before.
He
probably
which
was.
He probably was. Which,
He looked a little
shout
bloated.
out to Bill. Bill Shat. Shout out to Bill Shat.
Come on, Bill. Come on, Bill.
Z, what do you got for us, man?
ourzenith.com. Check us out. We got some amazing projects. This week, real interesting stuff. I don't know if you're a hip hop listener or a follower of the culture, but Tekashi 6ix9ine is testifying, and that
saw
shit
that.
is
Bro, be
so
ratting
fucking
out everyone.
interesting, bro. And like the memes are crazy. I don't know if you've been on Twitter, but the memes, like, they're always just like, oh, this in Tekashi 6ix9ine says Shia LaBeouf is a member of the Trey like this just then, Bill Nye the Science Guy, the newest member of the Trey 9 Bloods. Like, it's so hilarious, the memes. Sleep Easy is going to do a deep dive on Tekashi 6ix9ine, his music, the trial, everything that led up to the trial, his capture, his kidnapping. So that's going to be some fucking interesting ass shit. That shit should come out on Wednesday. So that's Sleep Easy Lyricist Lounge. We're going to dive Tekashi 6ix9ine. So I'm excited for that. And yeah, man, just follow us, man. Keep with it. We're growing, we're moving, we're shaking. Lots of cool stuff going on.
Dude, I'm very excited to do that episode. That episode is going to be amazing. There's so much ridiculous information coming from this trial that I can't wait to hear.
Well, dude, 6ix9ine is
find it
ridiculous.
all.
The whole embodiment of that guy.
I know, and it keeps growing. It's just building, and I want it all in one episode, and that sounds like what's coming. So keep it on our Zenith. Don't miss it. Always check us out at Hop Heroes Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Don't miss that shit. And thank you guys so much. I have a surprise for everybody, not just the listeners, people on screen. I will be in Washington on the 13th of October when we record. So, who's trying to do a group episode?
Yeah.
Y'all be.
Hell yeah.
Nobody's excited to have me over. So, I'm going to be at somebody's house, and we're going to do a recording in person, which will be very exciting for me. So, thank you guys so much for listening this week. We'll catch you next time.
Peace.
Bye.